Rich, what happens when you make a cult movie that never develops a cult?
Wow.
Spacehunter, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. It's the story of three unlikely heroes. Their destination, the Forbidden Zone. Their mission, save three stranded women.
I like her.
Their chances, 1 in a million.
I'll take that bet.
Yeah, that's... Yeah. You know what? I'm going to start off by saying children are stupid.
This has been true since the beginning of time.
This has been true since the beginning of time, and it was true about 35 years ago. The only reason we're watching this is because when I was a child, I remember liking this movie. This is like my early childhood brain. Anything that had anything to do with space, Star Trek, Star Wars, I loved it. And this was a movie I probably rented multiple times from the local video store. It was this and Ice Pirates.
Another movie that you could say is a cult movie without the cult.
And another cult movie without the cult. They're both early 80s science fiction movies that have been completely forgotten.
Ice Pirates, I think, has endured a tiny bit just because the director of it also directed Mac and Me and Tammy and the T-Rex.
Okay.
So people say, oh, Tammy and the T-Rex, that's a crazy movie. Did you know the guy that made that also made Ice Pirates?
I can tell you I was 6 years old, and I love the robot.
Thank you, Percy. That was wonderful.
My pleasure, ma'am.
See, I've still never seen Ice Pirates.
It was a Robot Man, Jay. That's like C-3PO.
Speaking of C-3PO, Spacehunter, The Adventures in the Forbidden Zone, is what happens when you say, hey, Star Wars is popular, Mad Max is popular.
Well, no. It's what happens when you say Star Wars is popular. Oh, Star Wars is expensive to film. Mad Max is popular.
They just shot that in the desert. We can do that. Throw some shit around. I will say this about Spacehunter. I had never even heard of it until we started getting VHS copies.
Yeah, we have a few here.
Well, there's multiple editions of Spacehunter.
Multiple editions of Spacehunter.
Yeah. That first one there on the end, that's some decent cover art.
Yeah, no, this is what I remember in the video store.
Okay.
This is what I rented multiple times, Jay.
That's the one that makes it look like an exciting space adventure film. As opposed to the other ones, which are just like promotional stills from the movie.
Jay,
it's so boring.
There are about 30 seconds that take place in space.
That's true.
You know what? It's technically correct.
Sure.
The escape shuttles have been programmed to seek out the nearest E-type or Earth-type planet. You will be landed and processed with full security.
But we started getting copies of those, and you had mentioned like maybe Best of the Worst worthy.
Well, I didn't know what to do with it because I saw it. Like, oh, I remember this when I was a kid. It's probably too good for Best of the Worst. I mean, Ivan Reitman was the executive producer.
I will say because now watching it for the first time, I'll say it is too good for Best of the Worst.
Yeah.
It's not a movie to make fun of. This is like last year when Mike and I did Rawhead Rex on Half in the Bag, where it's like, it's the completely inappropriate format for that movie, but what else do you do with it? It doesn't fit any of our other formats.
This is what happens when you take like the script from one of the typical science fiction movies we watch at Best of the Worst, and you raise everything up to the level of competent.
It's one of those movies that looks both expensive and cheap at the same time.
Yeah.
Because there's like some really wonderful matte paintings in the movie, and they're really well done. But then you see this like jagged edge of where the matte painting meets the actual like on-set photography. And I don't know why it's jagged. I don't know if they thought that would make it blend in more than just like straight lines or something, but your eyes just go right to it. So the whole movie has that kind of feel to it.
It's also like some unusual art direction to it because we're into the 80s at this point. And the 80s had decided that the future is industrial.
Yes.
Technology has, in the 80s, had a very specific look. This is what the future is. And this almost feels like a throwback
I thought that just from the opening music.
Like
that
50s,
kind of corny,
70s? Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely has that like 50s action music. Which I get, well, before we get any further, let's explain what this movie is.
Oh yeah, you know what? That's probably a good idea before we get
Because
into
people
it.
are like, what are they talking about? Spacehunter, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone, tells the story of not Han Solo. He's flying through space with his sidekick, sex slave, whatever she is.
She's a robot.
Her name, well, you learn she's a robot. It changes nothing in the story, but her name is Chalmers, Super Nintendo Chalmers. Meanwhile, 3 space babes crash land on an Earth-like planet, which is code for it's cheap to shoot in the desert. And he goes down there to rescue them for a bounty.
Well, there's a bounty.
Right?
There's a bounty to rescue them.
Yes.
3,000 mega credits.
3,000 space bucks.
Reward, 3,000 mega credits.
3,000 space bucks, which is a lot of space bucks.
I would hope so.
I would have gone like, I would have said like 3 million or something. You know what the funny thing is? The 3 babes, they're just 3 babes.
Oh yeah, they have no character.
I expected them to be like, the Space Emperor's daughters or something.
Please, we just want to go home.
Something where there's a reason they're worth so much.
Yeah.
Although maybe 3,000 space bucks isn't a lot. But this guy, it's enough for this guy.
He's so broke.
He's so broke. He kicks his ship and it makes R2-D2 noises.
Make them senators?
Yeah, they're just 3 random women.
Yeah.
But they land on this planet. They get kidnapped by, who I didn't realize right away, is Michael Ironside, playing Palpatine from Rise of Skywalker.
You don't understand. I'm very old, and I need you. I need your vitality.
She will strike me down and pledge herself as a Sith.
Well, he doesn't kidnap them because he doesn't show up until like halfway through the movie. I mean, he's the leader.
The space babes end up in his clutches.
Yeah.
So then Wolf is our not Han Solo character's name.
Wolf with 2 Fs.
Wolf with 2 Fs, because space, sci-fi. But he goes down to the planet to try and rescue them, ends up teaming up with a very young Molly Ringwald. This was a year before 16 Candles, Molly Ringwald.
I can't believe this. They fucking forgot my birthday.
And also
She probably would have been too good for this movie by that point, right?
This is right, but this is like early in a lot of people's careers, which is kind of the interesting thing to talk about with this movie. But one of his rivals in also trying to rescue the space babes is Ernie Hudson.
You help me go in and get the girls, I give you 750 mega credits. You fly us all out of here afterwards, I throw in another couple hundred. That's almost 1,000 mega credits, and I'm only being this generous because of our former friendship.
What former friendship?
Who should have played Wolf. He would have been a much better Wolf.
I was thinking the same fucking thing when I was watching this.
He's pretty good in this movie.
He's you don't think of him as like the tough guy, but he plays pretty good like tough guy sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
He's more charming than our hero. He's more competent than our hero. Smarter than our hero.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that trend of like trying to, like movies like this that try to have the Han Solo type character, and they always cast the most boring, nothing actor in the part. And that's the case with this guy. Peter Strauss or Peter Krause? I looked him up. And tons of credits. He's a working actor, but he shouldn't be our lead in this.
The point is, I'm giving you a chance to make some extra money.
You need my ship for transportation, or else you're stuck here, aren't you? The deal is 50-50 or nothing.
That scrotter ain't worth 50-50s.
Well, to mention the people who's in this, one of the reasons I thought this was going to be an interesting one to revisit is all of the bizarre Ghostbusters connections. Produced by Ivan Reitman, co-starring Ernie Hudson, music by Elmer Bernstein, and did you pick up on the 4th one?
The Harold Ramis cameo?
The uncredited Harold Ramis voice cameo.
How do you miss that voice? It's clearly Egon.
Yeah.
I got a lot of messages for you, Wolf. We got a transmission from a guy on Omega-6. He's got 8 tons of beryllium scrap. He wants you to pick it up as soon as you can.
We had part of a slinky, but I straightened it.
And I noticed with the score, there's a couple hints of Ghostbusters throughout it. The kind of like ethereal, kind of like theremin, like woo noises, those are in this movie.
What was that?
See, I was trying to find information about this movie, and I just couldn't. I'm kind of wondering, were they making Ghostbusters when they filmed this?
What? This is 80.
This came out in 83. This came out the year before Ghostbusters.
Okay.
This came out, here's another interesting bit of trivia.
Yes.
The week before Return of the Jedi.
On purpose?
On purpose.
Okay, like oh, people want to go see this.
People are going to be excited about science fiction, and after Return of the Jedi comes out, they're only going to go see Return of the Jedi. We'll make our opening weekend bucks.
Okay.
And that's what they did. They made $7 million on the opening weekend, and it's petered out to $16 million overall.
And then not a single person has ever talked about the movie until now.
Yeah.
Out.
Yeah, Ivan Reitman, his early career is really, like before he started doing mediocre comedies, his early career is really bizarre. He's from Canada, and he made like a movie called Cannibal Girls with Eugene Levy, and I think some of the other SCTV people are in it, which there's a cameo by that film on the marquee in Ghostbusters 2. But yeah, that, and then like heavy metal, which this sort of reminded me a bit of, again, with that kind of industrial sci-fi look.
That was incredible.
But yeah, his early career, his early, I guess, Canadian stuff is just like, I don't know, trying everything. It was he's sort of like this movie especially reminded me of like a Roger Corman movie or like a Charles Band movie. Those kind of like huckster, get in and make your money and get out type movies.
Because I found out it kind of was.
Okay.
3D is a fad. Let's crank out a 3D movie.
Yeah, I looked it up after the fact. I would not have guessed that this was a 3D movie.
Yeah.
Like while watching it, I didn't even think about that because there's no 3D gimmicks or anything. The early 80s was that sort of 3D revival where you had like
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
Jaws 3D.
Yeah. Amityville 3D.
Amityville 3D. Some other ones.
Another one that this movie reminded me a lot of is Metal Storm, The Destruction of Jared Sin, which is a Charles Band produced movie. And this is another one where it's like, what if it was Mad Max but had laser guns? And this also has a half human, half robot villain in it.
Okay.
And it's in the deserts.
I've never seen this. I think I've seen this on our shelves, and that's all I know about it.
That's Tim Thomerson there. He's in it. So like, yeah, Charles Band did this, which was also a 3D movie. And so it's, that early 80s 3D revival that was very short-lived. But all those movies have a very specific look to them, like because of the type of lenses they had to shoot the 3D on, where it's very like soft, almost to the point of looking out of focus. Mm-hmm. And Spacehunter doesn't have that. It just looks like a movie. And so I was surprised to learn that it was 3D. I never would have guessed that while watching it.
I looked up the trailer in 3D, glorious 3D.
In 2 weeks, Columbia Pictures will present 3D as you've never seen it before. The first quality 3D film backed by a major studio. The first to use a new state-of-the-art 3D process. This is Spacehunter, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone.
The only thing is like maybe the credits. At the end, it's like, the end.
Well, the beginning credits.
The beginning credits, which I wanted to point out, I think might have been an optical mistake. Because it's Spacehunter comes out at you. And I wasn't thinking 3D, I was thinking of like Superman.
Yeah.
That kind of credits. So Spacehunter comes out, and then Spacehunter goes away, and then Adventures from the Forbidden Zone comes out, but it's smaller and down farther in the frame. Or I think it was supposed to be like Spacehunter, and then Adventures of the Forbidden Zone comes out underneath it, so it's together. And they just fucked up, and it was too expensive to redo it. That's how it looks. It looks like a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, it's credits.
It's just the title of the film.
It's just the title of the film, Jay. Nobody cares.
But yeah, that's, again, the Elmer Bernstein music. Like, I kind of enjoyed this movie. Like, it's pretty forgettable, but it's interesting because of all the other elements to it, all the Ghostbusters connections. But that music, right off the bat, I was like, hey, this is fun. This isn't like John Williams. It feels more like a throwback to the actual kind of corny,
like 50s to 70s sci-fi,
yeah,
somewhere in there.
Back before things got a little more high-tech with Star Wars.
Like, I read something Elmer Bernstein said where it was like, this was slapped together. They wanted something, they wanted it out quick.
Okay.
They wanted to cash it on 3D. It needed to be out the week before Return of the Jedi specifically. So I just slapped some Western music together.
Okay.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if he didn't have time to finish the score, because there's parts in the movie where it feels like it should have score and it just doesn't. Because there's that first, when Wolf first lands on the planet, it's a really impressive train that comes up that looks like it's like outfitted to look like a pirate ship.
Yeah.
It's like, this is really cool looking. And so the first big action scene is on that train. He's running around and he's beating people up, and it's just like dead silence. So there's no action music for the big action scene, but then there's rousing action music when he's forcing Molly Ringwald to take a bath.
Maybe now you're gonna smell like one.
I just thought that was such a weird choice.
That's an uncomfortable scene, too.
A little bit, yeah. Especially when you know like how young Molly Ringwald is in this. Like, I guess I don't know how old she was in real life, but in 16 Candles, obviously she's playing a teenager. But
you know, there were reshoots to this.
Oh.
Yeah. There's some parallels to Solo.
Okay.
A Smuggler's Tale?
That's not the title of the movie.
Yeah, no. They started filming this. It was called Adventures in the Creep Zone, was the title.
Oh.
And they canned the director, and they reshot everything they had done.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was it more perverted when they say creep zone? Is that what they mean?
I have trouble finding much information. Like, a lot of this is just like trivia buried in IMDb.
Yeah.
But I guess Spacehunter was even more of an asshole than the original.
Because when I was watching it, I was thinking like it's almost riding that line of like being, because the main villain, Michael Ironside,
originally called King Creep.
Bring them to me. Closer.
King Creep in the movie's called like
Overdog.
Overdog.
Not Overlord.
No.
They call him Overdog, which I think is another Mad Max thing.
Okay.
Overdog is a name you would expect somebody in Mad Max to have.
That's true.
Yeah.
But he's kind of a sex pervert. Like when the space babes get sent to him and he's like, take off their clothes.
That one. The one in the center. Undress her. Slowly.
And so I was wondering if maybe the original idea for this movie was, because heavy metal is kind of an adult, sci-fi thing. There's boobs and stuff. And so I was wondering if this was meant to be more adults. And then they were like, wait, we could sell this to children. Let's reshoot it.
That's the feeling I get.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Producer saw that and like, what the fuck? Star Wars is big now. Why are we making this creep thing?
Why are we making a sex pervert film in space?
We're redoing this. Get on the Bernstein. Have him whip something together. He's got 3 weeks.
Just take a couple pieces of his Ghostbusters score he's working on. Throw it in there.
I'm wondering if they were working on Ghostbusters when they made this.
Didn't Ghostbusters have kind of a notoriously quick pre-production? I know like Dan Aykroyd's original ideas were all crazy, but the actual like production of the movie, I want to say it came together kind of quickly.
God, I don't remember.
So it's right around there. It's right around that same era, which when you put these two movies back to back is sort of shocking.
Get him!
going back to the 3D, I found the Siskel and Ebert review of this.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and...
The only time we ever bring up Siskel and Ebert on the show is when we talk about reviews that they hate. Like, I always bring them up because they had notoriously bad takes on horror movies.
Ebert gives us a positive review, more or less. Not a solid positive, but it's like, why do his entire review boil down to, why the fuck did this need to be 3D? If you want to see Roger Ebert bitching about 3D, go look up his review for this. He bitches about 3D.
Okay.
And then Siskel jumps in to say, no, the movie's just garbage.
I can't recommend this movie in 3D, but if it turned up on cable or on television, I'd look at it.
And if it turned up on cable or television, I wouldn't. I think this is an awful picture if it were in 1D.
The movie's not garbage.
Well, I'm not Gene Siskel.
That's true. He had the worst taste between the two of them.
Yeah.
Although Ebert's taste on horror movies was usually pretty terrible.
Yeah.
So I guess it evens out.
They didn't like Gremlins, Jay.
They didn't like Gremlins. They hated 80s slasher movies. They doxed people before doxing was a thing.
Really?
I think it was, I want to say it's Betsy Palmer who played the killer in the first Friday the 13th movie. Either her or the producers of Friday the 13th. They flat out gave out their addresses on the show. It was like, write to them to tell them what filth this is. Wow. It's pretty shocking, yeah.
I thought it was less interesting than any of the Star Wars pictures that are shot in
that's for sure.
That are shot in 2D, and this is a rip-off to me.
Well, I'm not recommending it if that'll make you any happier.
It'll make me any happier, okay.
I mean...
Going back, well, we're talking about the kind of cheap quickness of the whole thing.
Yeah.
There's a fair amount of different, like, creatures and half-human, half-robot monsters, and they all look kind of half-assed, except for Michael Ironside. He looks pretty cool.
That's what I remember as a kid.
He's in this weird, claw machine contraption, and
he's also on just a crane that you would normally mount your camera on.
That's probably what they use. Yeah.
No, they didn't build anything special just for this movie.
Yeah.
They mounted him onto a camera crane, and they gave him giant lobster claws, and he's having fun.
I made a substance you never dreamed of, Earther. You can't hurt me, but I can hurt you.
I was thinking of Rise of Skywalker, Palpatine. How Palpatine's on that similar kind of device that moves him around, limits his mobility, which makes him way less scary than I think he's supposed to be.
Can you imagine if he didn't have the crane? He's just walking around, he's got those giant claw arms.
Oh, yeah.
He needed the crane.
Well, that's another aspect of the movie that made me think of Charles Band movies from that time. Like Metal Storm, I mentioned, has a half-human, half-robot character, or robot jocks. Mm-hmm. Like those type of movies. Or Eliminators, which is the robot, half-human, half-robot with the tank body. It feels like a Charles Band movie, but Charles Band had nothing to do with it.
Ivan Reitman, the director of Ghostbusters, had something to do with this. The year before he made Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I would say in relation to Charles Band, this is a compliment to Charles Band to say this movie looks like a Charles Band film. It's an insult to Ivan Reitman to say it looks like a Charles Band film.
Looking up information on this, and Ivan Reitman labeled the movie a space adventure with a sense of humor.
Okay.
According to Wikipedia, Ivan Reitman called the movie terrible.
So it's probably from two different interviews.
It's probably from two different interviews. I'm assuming one was considerably after the fact.
Yeah, I mean, there is kind of a tongue-in-cheek element to the movie. I don't know what it is about fantasy movies from this era where they think they all need the comedy relief sidekick, and the comedy relief sidekick, their idea of humor is to just make them really annoying.
What the hell are you?
What do you think I am, you scrawny earthbag? I'm a woman.
Because Molly Ringwald in this movie is insufferably annoying.
I never said I wouldn't eat dog. I said I don't eat it that much.
Here's the weird thing. She kind of grows on me. She starts off really annoying.
Yeah. She's like a compulsive liar, and she's just whining.
Yeah.
I guess she gets a little better as the movie goes along. But
I have some amount of sympathy for her growing up on this fucked up planet.
Filled with disease-ridden creeps.
Filled with disease-ridden creeps, diaper babies from Nothing But Trouble.
I was going to mention that exact same thing. They look like Dan Aykroyd from Nothing But Trouble.
You have the weird Amazon warrior, the water Amazon warriors who just show up.
Oh yeah, that was another part where I was like, was this movie meant to be more horny originally?
I'm assuming I have to assume it was. That this is a creepy sex thing.
Good breeding man. I'll bet breeding with us would kill him.
I'll take that bet.
That the producers just completely threw the original plan and out the window. No, we're gonna rip off Star Wars and Mad Max. Because they show up, they kidnap our heroes, and then our heroes run away.
There's a lot of that in this movie.
We never see them again.
They meet someone and run away almost immediately.
Yeah.
Like the diaper babies show up, they're wrapped in bubble wrap, and they're descending from the ceiling. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be a fun sequence. And they're like, bye, and then that's it.
The heroes just run away.
They just run away. It takes 5 seconds.
Well, your film's called Adventures in the Creep Zone. So your film's called Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. You have to have multiple adventures, Jay. Which means they just run away from different people.
They must have spent all their fucking money on that train at the beginning because everything else is pretty cheap.
Yeah. The
train. Until the end.
The train and the obstacle course. That's a fun sequence.
The maze, I think they call it. It's very like Beyond Thunderdome, but this would have been before Beyond Thunderdome.
By a few years.
Yeah, but yeah.
So it's one thing they didn't rip off from Mad Max. Mad Max ripped off this for Thunderdome.
I can guarantee George Miller saw this film and said, yeah.
I'm gonna kick up my game.
But yeah, no, that's a fun sequence, that whole, it's just like Beyond Thunderdome where people are outside like cheering on as people get horribly violently killed in this maze, of this pit. I did notice there's one shot where Molly Ringwald, she's stuck in the maze and she's running out and there's like flames that shoot from the sides and there is a fucking flame that comes like this close to her face. I don't know if that was a mistake on the timing or what, but she looks like she almost got her fucking face burned off.
She may have actually almost gotten her face burned off. I don't know.
It was a different time.
It was a different time.
There weren't the safety protocols there are now. Especially when you're working with weirdo, cheap Canadians.
Couple years before Hollywood safety became a much bigger issue in Hollywood. Couple years.
On the set of Mac and Me?
On the set of Mac and Me, when the main character like slipped in a banana peel.
How do you manage to do that when he's in a wheelchair?
A key grip.
It changed all the rules in Hollywood.
Changed all the rules.
All the safety protocols, yeah.
Was character Mac and Me was he in a wheelchair? I don't remember Mac and Me at all. Why aren't we talking about Mac and Me?
Oh God, don't give him ideas. Now everyone's gonna be requesting Mac and Me. The most interesting thing about Mac and Me is the original ending.
What was the original ending of Mac and Me?
Oh, the fucking kid in the wheelchair gets shot by a cop and dies.
Are you kidding?
And then Mac has to bring him back to life with his magical powers.
Oh. Well,
yeah, no, he doesn't die permanently. But you do see him like wheeling towards Mac and his magical alien family, and you just see him get shot through the fucking chest. It's horrific, and it was in a kid's film.
Here's my memory of Mac and Me. When I was in grade school, it was a reward for something. The school got to watch Mac and Me.
Oh, that's not much of a reward.
No, and especially because I had already seen it and I knew. It was a terrible, terrible day, Jay.
One of the other adventures they go on, talking about all their many, many amazing adventures in this film, and all the amazing characters and creatures, they're in like a pit. It's one of the other times they meet up with Ernie Hudson.
Yeah.
And there's all these little like Jason Voorhees babies surrounding them. They're like whistling at him. But then they don't do anything.
Don't they throw bombs at them or something?
Yeah, but then they just run away.
Yeah.
They just run away.
Gotta get to the adventures quick.
We only got 90 minutes. I will say, that's a relief with this movie. It's only 90 minutes. Not that it was like an agonizing, it was kind of an entertaining movie to watch, but it is like, oh, remember when epic space adventure movies could just be 90 minutes?
See, I don't know, more entertaining for you, probably because you're completely fresh to it.
Yeah.
For me, this is literally revisiting a movie I probably haven't seen in. It could literally be 35 years since I've seen this. This is the movie when I was a kid. Oh, I like that movie as a kid, and watching it now, it was just like one big letdown.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah.
Did you actually have any sort of anticipation that it would hold up, though?
Well, yeah, just because of who was involved with it.
Okay.
See, we got this movie in the mail, and we're wondering what to do with it. Like, is it too good for best of the worst? I don't know. And I put it in the VCR, and because I was a kid, I had no idea who was anyone. And I said, oh, that's fucking Ivan Reitman. Oh, there's a Ghostbusters connection. Oh, that's Harold Ramis. I can hear that's clearly. And I turned it off. And so I actually kind of was expecting it to be charming.
Okay.
More charming than it is.
Maybe one of those like, underseen, underrated gems.
Yeah.
It's not that.
It's pyrite.
It's what?
It's fool's gold. It's pyrite.
Oh, it's pyrite.
Yeah.
I thought you said pirate. I was thinking of the pirate ship. I was like, what are you talking about?
No, this movie, it was pyrite for me. It was fool's gold.
Yeah, it falls between the cracks of, like we mentioned, all the Mad Max ripoffs. I have some of them here. These were big in Italy. Italians in the early 80s, Italians loved to rip off Mad Max and Escape from New York, often in the same movie. I don't know if Escape from New York was like a massive hit in Italy or what, but there was a ton of movies that were both of those at once. But we have like 2020 Texas Gladiators, 1990 The Bronx Warriors, and Warrior of the Lost World. So these are all Mad Max ripoffs, and there's a charm to how bad they are and how cheap they are.
Yeah.
And Spacehunter is like, it's decent production value, not great, but not laughably bad. But it's also not legitimately like clever or charming in a way that makes it shine brighter than the budget would allow. It's right between the cracks of like everything.
It's like it was scientifically designed to be forgettable. I'm not kidding. This and Avatar. Both 3D movies.
That's true. When are the 12 sequels to Spacehunter going to come out?
Well, they've been working on them for the last 30 years, Jay.
Just like James Cameron.
Just like James Cameron.
All those Avatar sequels, they'll be coming eventually. In an ironic twist of fate, the Spacehunter sequel and the Avatar sequel will come out the same year. Spacehunter will come out a week before. It's like poetry, it rhymes.
We did it.